So let's talk about the Galaxy Watch 4. The first point I want to is the durability. The watch, it has these thick bezels, which are really good, but at the same time, when you scroll on your screen, it is hard to see the content that you're actually selecting. They can be a little bit unresponsive sometimes, but for the most part, they're a bit more accurate than actually swiping down or left to right with your finger, because sometimes you'll hit the back button. The watch seems to scratch very easily, so at work, there's a lot of concrete around, and I find that the watch, it gets very scuffed up, and right at the edge you can kind of see on this video too that the edges, they really get scratched and just the paint wears away really fast. You just got to be kind of mindful when you're in closed spaces or anything like that. If the watch is very dust resistant, I have had my hand fully submerged in dust because of the work environment I have. I deal with a lot of like grain and that kind of stuff, and I haven't had any issues. You just have to make sure to wash it after a dusty day or anything like that. I know that there's some people who've had concerns with water damage and that kind of thing, but I have not seen that yet. So point number 2 is the price. The watch is currently $175 Canadian. I'm not sure what that is in USD, but I can put that down below. That's a pretty good price point considering that the Galaxy Watch 5 goes for around $400 Canadian. I think it just price dropped at the moment, but it's still about $130 more than the 4. So the reason that this is so good is because if you're just trying to get into a smartwatch, but you don't really know why, or if you really want to invest into a super high-end one, it has a little bit of everything, but it's not really the best at anything. Number 3 is the battery life. The battery life can range anywhere from 8 to 12 hours, and this is with wrist wake raise turned on and with always on display off. You also got to keep in mind that if you are going to be using the watch for workouts and tracking auto-detecting workouts, any workout will really tax the battery. You can expect a 30-minute jog or run to drain about 25% of your battery once that break-in period of 2 to 3 weeks has come into play, because the first few weeks that you have this watch, you're really going to have horrible battery. Wear OS that's on the watch, it's trying to figure out your usage patterns when you're using certain apps and what your behaviors are so it can optimize the battery life. But until then, your battery is going to really suck. You're not going to get near the numbers that I mentioned here. You have to strategize when you use this watch for working out and that kind of thing. Number 4 is the features. I would say that the watch, it's kind of hit and miss. So when you work out, it's very good. I don't know how accurate the calories are. You kind of just have to take them with a grain of salt because it's a sports watch and they're not always going to be that accurate, but you got to look for trend data. One thing that this watch very much suffers from is a unresponsive media control player. There are often times when you'll start like a YouTube video on your phone or a Netflix video, and then the media controls will actually pop up, but then they will desync about halfway through the video, or if you're watching a movie, they'll desync when you really need the control most. It's kind of spotty. Could be a lot better in my opinion. Again, for this price point, there's not really much more to expect.